I am literally like on fire.
There's only 3 of you, so there's no hiding.
People were cheering. I'm like, oh,
I think that's what holds people back. And every person who finally takes the jump said, why did I wait so long?
You don't feel like you should be doing this. You're not the right person to be doing this. Who am I to be creating this? You got to get past that. That's it. You're going to do it. So now get over yourself and know that you're the right person to be doing this and start doing it.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the first ever episode of Beyond the Panels, a brand new series where we take a deep dive into a craft or hobby from our favorite anime and manga. If you're anything like me, you usually end up watching an anime series or end up reading a manga and thinking to yourself, that's cool, I wish that were me, or I wish I could do that. And then immediately turning off the TV, closing the manga, and then going to sleep. Well, I'm looking to break that laziness cycle, at least with myself, by tackling a manga that I consider one of my personal favorites. The series has 12 volumes out in English right now, and will have an anime adaptation in the fall of 2025, which hopefully is after this video comes out. No promises. So if any of you guys have watched any of my convention footage before, you probably know that I will literally not shut up about Wandance. Wandance.
Wandance.
W-A-N.
Wandance.
D-A-N-C-E. Wandance. Wandance. It's Wandance. Wandance. Now, this series tackles structured choreography as well as freestyle battling and introduces you to the many styles and variations that you may encounter over the course of a dance career. Now, as you guys can tell by the figure and the abnormally large bookshelf, I don't go outside often. So for the next 100 days, we'll be trying to learn, master, and then eventually perform a piece of choreography that uses a song from the series Wandance. But I have no idea where to start, and I have very little dance experience overall, so we need a place to learn. So today I will be visiting Funkmode Studios, a dance studio in Concord, California that offers a wide array of classes ranging from jazz, cardio dance, and hip hop. These classes can range in terms of difficulty from beginner to advanced, and are for a wide variety of age groups, even starting as young as 3 years old. With over 20 years of dance experience, I am hoping that over the next few months, I will learn from the wonderful instructors here as we shuffle, sweat, and stumble our way into the domain of hip hop choreography. But in order to get a better understanding of what I'm getting myself into, we sat down with Mighty and Angel, 2 of the instructors here at Funkmode and my mentors for this video. Thank you guys for sitting down with me, and thank you for talking to me about Funkmode in general. Could you guys just, in a quick sentence, tell me who you guys are and what are you guys all about?
My name is Mighty. I founded Funkmode.
My name is Angel. Hello. I am one of the main instructors here at Funkmode.
So what inspired you to open the studio?
By the time we actually opened this studio where we are right now, it was in 2016, we had been very firmly established in another location where we were renting space. And we got to the point where we were outgrowing our previous space. And we didn't have, because it was rental, we didn't have control over it. So there's only so much we could do in terms of promoting it, putting up our own decor. And so we had been talking about it for a while. We probably started talking about it around the 10-year anniversary, maybe a little bit before, like 12, 13. And then we really started to have to do it because we were literally outgrowing our space. And so we got to the point where we just couldn't do anymore, and it was coming faster and faster, new students, because we were becoming really more established as our own business. So the inspiration really was discomfort with the previous space that we were in. We got to the point where we realized that the community that we were creating was really important, and maybe more important than any other specific thing that we were doing. If this was going to evolve, if we were going to take this vision to the next level, we needed to have our own place where we could do it. So now we've been here since 2016, and we just passed, what would that have been, our 8th year?
Yeah.
Is that right? Did I do the math right? Yeah.
I think it's also really important to note that when we kept coming back to these conversations of, do we open a dance studio? All of us putting our heads together and being so extremely passionate about it is what creates the community. You know, if we get to the point where we don't know our students or each other's students, we're getting too big. So I know for myself, I got an opportunity really young to teach hip hop. And I remember at the moment thinking, I don't care what I do for work as long as I love it. and don't have to set an alarm. And I was thinking about wanting to someday open my own studio like this. I wanted a hip hop studio, non-competitive, recreational, where people can really just be themselves without worrying about stepping into somebody else's shadow and doing what they think they're supposed to be doing, but letting everyone kind of find their own light. And then I met this guy. And I realized that he had already created that. And that was exactly what I wanted. So I was really all in from the moment that I started here.
Who's your biggest inspiration when it came to dance?
I had a lot of people in the early goings that were a big part of me being able to get started. My mom is very, very into dancing. And even though she doesn't take classes here and she really hasn't ever been a part of what we're doing in terms of the studio, she's always been a big fan behind the scenes, and she always tells me, if I would have done life differently, I could see doing exactly what you're doing. So to a certain extent, I feel like I'm living out that dream for her. And then Cara became like that as well, because again, where she was just at the beginning of her professional career, she had lived it up until that point, so she was very inspiring to me. And then in that early going that I was talking to you about, where I was putting myself through dance college basically, I was training with a lot of dance companies and at a lot of different dance studios. So I was meeting other dance studio owners or dance company directors and getting really connected in that world. And then all of those people became super interesting to me because again, they were all just people doing what I hoped to see myself doing as being the people who really helped light that fire in me and kept me moving forward in the early going.
Mine's definitely Mighty. I definitely thought that it was too late for me to like get in. You know, I didn't get to grow up in a studio and I thought that's the only real pathway, but seeing him get into it as an adult and do that very successfly really inspired me to know, like, if he can do it, I can do it. And so us getting to run the studio together with Cara has been perfect. Not dance related, but my dad. He's the reason why I get to do this. Like I said, he moved me out to California as a teenager, and he is actually the architect of this studio. None of these walls in the inside were here when we took it on. So my dad like literally got to build his baby girl's dream, and that is so, so cool. So, so cool to me to be able to do that like with his name on the building. So thanks, Dad.
For you guys, what exactly defines hip-hop dancing for people who may not know what exactly fits in that mold?
Yeah, so that's actually a really specific question, and it's not really a subjective question. So if I were gonna say, what is hip-hop dancing now? In a very loose sense, you could almost say it's like any kind of dancing that happens to hip-hop music, right? But obviously you could dance ballet to hip-hop music, that doesn't make it hip-hop.
You can also lock to country music, and that doesn't make it hip hop music, but it's still hip hop dancing.
Right, exactly. That's a really, really good point. So what I'd say now is like, if you're talking about not those original styles, like if you're not specifically talking about breaking, you're not specifically talking about locking, then if you're to say what's hip hop dancing beyond that, for me, it's gotta be dancing that is either to hip hop music, or if not to hip hop music, very clearly deriving from those original styles. It has to have that spirit and energy of that original hip hop dancing in order for it to still be hip hop dancing now in that freestyle sense.
I think it's really important to note that hip hop comes from the ground up, whereas you have your ballet, tap, jazz, modern, contemporary, who you have really, really clear OG creators of this style who hand it from like top down. Who hand it down and tell everyone exactly how it's supposed to be done. And they train for years to mimic exactly what it's supposed to be. And hip hop is literally the opposite. So hip hop is like by the people, for the people, whatever they create is what it has the opportunity to become. And so whatever's being created at this level, we get to say, which is why we love teaching the kids to have their own style and contribute that way, because like if we aren't creating it, it's not happening, because it has a completely different feel. You know, it's got to have the freestyle circle and the push and pull of creating with other people in your circle and in your space. And at the end of the day, that's really what all love is. It's knowing that we are all here together in support of each other, encouraging each other, doing something that we love. So even when you have like a dance battle with some of these styles that he had mentioned, it's often really aggressive and in your face intense. And at the end of it, you will see them, you know, shake hands and hug and give props. And you're like, I thought they were gonna fight a second ago, but it is just so passionate. Like they are just coming together, bringing their whole heart into movement. And that, like he was saying, that spirit, that is what is really important to not lose when it comes to hip hop dancing.
So what is the best advice that you could give somebody who may be interested in wanting to start dance or want to take dance in general?
Start.
Just get through the door.
That's it.
Yeah.
I think that's what holds people back. And every person who finally takes the jump said, why did I wait so long? If you wait until you're ready, you're never gonna be ready. Start figuring out what's next from there.
I would say that there's never been a better time to get started with stuff like that. There's so many resources available. So if you're talking about someone who wants to get into class, there's classes. If you're talking about someone who doesn't want to leave their house, there's classes. If you're talking about someone who wants to learn to move, there's tutorials. All that stuff exists out there right now, and it's so easy to get a hold of. And what's more, you don't even need any of that stuff either. All of those people came from somewhere else, and you could do the exact same thing. Put on your music in your house and dance. Just do it.
Start.
So just as Mighty and Angel stated, we got started on our choreography journey by returning to the bookshelf and brushing up on the series that started it all. Wandance is a manga series by Coffee that follows a reserved high school student named Kaboku Kotani, who has a hard time expressing himself due to a stutter. Kabo spots Wanda Hikari dancing confidently outside of a building as he's walking home from class. During class the next day, Kabo ends up talking to Wanda and asks her why does she enjoy dancing. Wanda says it's because you don't have to talk to do it, and because she's not good with words either. Inspired by her words, Kabo takes his first step into the world of dance. Although this manga has been releasing chapters since 2019, the mangaka Coffee announced that there will be an anime adaptation in the fall of 2025. The reason why I love this series comes down to 3 specific elements. The first is that the series does an excellent job of conveying motion through dynamic poses and paint-like accents. To add stylization, the mangaka breaks conventional paneling to help emphasize the freedom of dance. The second element has to do with music discovery. The series introduces the reader to new songs as we follow Kabo's dance journey. I went into more detail in my first video on this channel called The Musical Mess of Manga, if you guys want to see examples of what this looks like. The last element is the story and the themes in the series. Without going into too much detail, this is a story of self-discovery, confidence, and a splash of romance that makes Wandance one of my favorite mangas to read and recommend. So how do we go from panels to practice? Well, let me break that down for you guys. I'm just kidding. Let's actually go over what exactly this process is going to entail. So for the next 100 days, I'm going to have to create, master, and perform a piece of choreography that will be for Funkmode's semi-annual Cabaret show, which is going to be in April. Now, getting a slot in Cabaret is not just as easy as going up to them and saying, hey, I want to do a piece. There is actually an audition process to get in. And the first hurdle for that is the first week of February, you have to have a piece of video or at least a sample of what your piece is going to be. So in other words, we have to get started as soon as possible because that's due the first week of February and it's already January. So I went back to Mighty and Angel and asked them about the creation process to hopefully help me kickstart this and figure out what exactly I'm doing. What specific mental hurdles are there when it comes from shifting from following a choreography to now creating a choreography?
There's a concept in improv of yes and. That is, I think, the biggest thing to wrap your brain around when you're creating. It's really easy to tell yourself no over and over as you're creating. Not that move. I didn't like that. That was awful. Why am I doing this? You suck. Like the mental jargon that goes on that prevents you from creating and doing the thing. When someone is new to choreographing, they'll just stand there until a move comes to their mind. It'll never happen. So you want to play your song and just start moving, and don't tell yourself no. So you'll weed through a bunch of stuff that you don't like before finding the thing that you do. And it takes way longer in the beginning. So try not to get frustrated with yourself in the beginning when there's a lot of no's. So yes, and okay, that worked, but how can I make it better? How can I add to it? How can I do this? So just start moving and find your yeses.
I think a lot of people getting started with anything, but I could tell you for sure with this, because this is my area of expertise, we're gonna suffer from some degree of imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you should be doing this. You're not the right person to be doing this. Who am I to be creating this? You gotta get past that. Especially if you decided that you're going to do it. That's it, you're going to do it. So now get over yourself and know that you're the right person to be doing this and start doing it. Now, there might be the actual objective physical limitation of just not having the depth of knowledge yet to create from. And to that end, that's where working with professionals comes in. I would tell you that you would really need to start drinking in the internet as much as possible, because all of those things that you need are out there. I would say those two things. One, knowing that you belong doing this and committing to that and going forward with it. And then making sure that you have enough to create with.
And I think it's really helpful having the professionals tell you, good job, you're on the right track. You know, same way that people go to the gym and have no idea what they're doing, so then they pay somebody to coach them through it and go, do you see that form? Do you see that alignment? Yes, that's working. So then same way that you have us, and you can go, do you see how you're on beat there? That's good. See how that one fell off? Let's fix that. And we can show you where to keep, what direction to keep going in. Just so I feel like we just need constant reassurance in the beginning that we're on the right track and that we're making progress.
Mm-hmm. When it comes to selecting a specific song for dance, what elements are you guys looking for? Are you guys looking for lyrics, beats per minute, or is it a mix of everything about the song that makes it a song that you guys would choreograph to?
It's a really, really good question. I know for me, I really need variety in the song. So I'm listening for all the different elements that I can pull out. So if it really only has fun lyrics, that's only going to interest me as a choreographer for so long if the beat isn't driving. At the same time, if it's just a really dope beat, but there's really no depth to it, it doesn't go anywhere, it doesn't change, that's also only going to hold my interest for so long. So I'm listening for things that change up. So I'm like, I hear this really driving beat and I can hear that. And then there's a moment of softness where I can kind of change to it. Little riffs in the instrumentation or lyrically something that stands out where I'm like, okay, so no, I'm gonna be moving quick, 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 ding, and then that's gonna stand out. So I don't want something that's just steady going. For me, choreographically, I wanna hear it change up. Yeah.
I 100% agree with everything you just said, especially with hip hop. I'm looking for dynamic contrast. I'm looking to be here, then I'm gonna be here. Then it's smooth, then it's sharp. And that's, to me, the most interesting thing to choreograph to.
Choreography to me feels like a puzzle. It feels like structured creativity. I know that I need 4 8 counts, and so within that I've got my little loop that I get infinite possibilities to, and it all is so fun.
One thing I would add off the crowd pleasingness, sometimes I feel like I'm just the DJ. So if I will pick a song, if I know that the moment I drop that first beat, everyone's gonna go, whoa!
That's the best moment. It's the best moment.
I'll pick a song just based on that. I don't even know what I'm gonna do this song, but I know that when they hear this song, they're gonna go crazy. I'll figure out what I'm gonna do.
Yeah.
So what is the best piece of advice that you would give me to get started on this choreography journey?
Get connected to your music. That's what I'd say. Listen to your music, listen to it well, hear what you're hearing in it, and allow that to move you. Right now, I would say you don't need to be a generalist, right? You don't need to be good at dancing in general. You need to be good at dancing specifically to the song that you want to dance to, right? So I would start to specialize in that. That would be my first advice, to be like, know your song well, start to figure out how this song makes you want to move, and focus in on that.
In the creative process, put your song on, record yourself like 10 minutes, play it a bunch of times or all the way through and just move. And then go back and watch it, and then you'll be able to see which things you liked or which things you naturally kept coming back to. Those are really your yeses. What does your body naturally continue to want to do? Sometimes if I'm choreographing and I'm not recording myself, I'll hit some combo or some pattern and I'm like, what was that? That was awesome. But like now I can't remember it and I can't recreate it. And that is such a challenge. And I'm like, oh, I wish I was recording that. So I think definitely just hit play, record yourself moving, watch it back, and decide what you liked.
So after getting excellent advice from Mighty and Angel again, we had to kind of sit down and make some tough decisions about what we can do and what we need to do before we could even start dancing. And the first part is to pick a song. Now, throughout Wandance, there have been many songs. There's a lot of excellent music that shows up, but I wanted to limit myself down to a couple of things. And the first one is that it had to be in the first half of Wandance. It cannot be in the later part, just in case if there's a season 2 of the anime, we might have to double dip, we might have to come back to it. So we're trying to keep ourselves to the first 3 volumes of Wandance. And we also want to just see if we could find something that really vibes with me, something that I would genuinely enjoy. So we actually settled on 3 specific songs, and here are our options. The first one is Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B. Now, this is the first song that's ever in Wandance, but it was kind of used as a warm-up. So for me personally, I was just like, it's used as a warm-up. There's not a lot of like actual like dancing parts to it, but overall, it's a great song. The second one that I kind of went back and forth with was Don't by Ed Sheeran. Now, this song is more of a solo thing, but it does have a couple swings here and there that I thought were really interesting. And the last one was the actual piece that was the first choreography piece, which is Lost in Japan by Shawn Mendes and Zedd. Now, this song has a lot of really, really cool parts in it. A lot of parts that you could take apart and think about. But over the course of thinking about it and kind of going back and forth between these 3 songs, we decided on Finesse. Now, the reason why we decided on Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B is actually twofold. The first part is that it has a lot of variation, and this is something that Angel actually talked about in the interview. We wanted to make sure that it has things to mess with, not only in terms of the music or the beats, but also the lyrics, and just kind of gives us kind of a playground to kind of mess with. Not only does it have Cardi B's verse, it has Bruno's verse, it has a lot of energy at moments, it slows down at moments. So just having that good variety will make it a very, very fun and interesting creative process for me. And the second reason is because Bruno Mars is a weeb. He's one of us. So yeah, you know, game respects game, and we're gonna go with it. Hello everyone, future KanaManga here, currently editing the timeline that you guys are watching, and one beard and mustache later. I just want to give you guys a heads up of what to expect in this video. The first thing is that, as you heard, previous Kana has selected Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B, which honestly, excellent pick if I do say so myself. But the thing is, YouTube has a very strict copyright claims and strikes kind of system, where they can literally take out parts of the video, maybe even delete the video, or even worse, possibly delete the channel. So the thing that I want to do is be able to give you guys the best version as I can, without trying to take away too much. So just a heads up, there may be parts of this video that have its audio replaced because we're trying to dance around copyright. On the other hand, if you guys just want to see the video as is without any of the replacement audio, feel free to check out the KanaManga Patreon page. We have a free 7-day trial on the first tier that will allow you to watch this video as intended and with the music still intact. So I hope you guys enjoy the video, and let's get back to it. So after we settled in on Finesse being the song that we have selected, we have to do the second part, which is probably even harder than picking out the song, which is finding people to dance with. For me personally, I don't want to do this dance alone. I don't want to be the only guy there and possibly fumble the entire thing just because it's only me, you know? So I decided to recruit a couple people, and lucky for me, Funkmode actually has a lot of really good classes to hop into and just ask people around to see if they want to be a part of this Cabaret project. We actually settled in on 2 people. One person you may be more familiar with, and the other person is brand new to the channel. So the first person we ended up recruiting is Forrest, and she's the one who does all of the signs for the KanaManga channel and all the short form stuff. but she's also the person who has the most dance experience. She has been dancing for well over 6 years in various different styles such as hula, swing, tap, ballet, hip hop, and it's really, really interesting to have somebody like that on the team to help me kind of figure out the process and figure out how everything is going to work out. So along with Forrest, we decided to recruit one other person as well, somebody who is brand new to dance, and you know, with a series called Wandance, you kind of need somebody to fill in that namesake. So instead of us finding a Wanda, we found a guy named Juan, and we got him on board only because I saw him with an anime shirt during class one day and I was like, this guy knows what's up. And so we ended up talking, and I ended up telling him about the project and he was on board. And the last person that I should probably mention is myself. I've been taking classes for just about 9 months with Funkmode, just to kind of get an idea of how the classes work and some of the dances that they've done. And it really inspired me to make this video and to really piece everything together and bring everything full circle. So now that we have our crew assembled, it is time for us to actually start practicing our choreography. So I actually have to go. We have to get ready to practice with Forrest, and yeah, let's just get started. So that's what we ended up doing. We just ended up listening to the music and moving. And a lot of it was awkward for the first part, but after a while we started finding a few moves that worked and started to build off from there. The first day with Forrest went pretty well, but my goal was to kind of get a good section done before our first private lesson with Mighty and before the first video submission shoot was due. I spent even more of my nights just trying to come up with some new moves with the choreo and trying to build off from where we left off. And I even asked if I could borrow the studio to see what it would look like on hardwood and in front of a big mirror. And then I got a flash from the past. The other thing that I failed to mention, before even taking dance classes back in high school, I used to mess around with my hat a lot. This is like my fidget toy back in the day. So I know how to do hat tricks based off of just wrist rolls, wrist movements, and stuff like that. Maybe a little bit of a push kind of stuff. So in my head, I was like, what if I wove in something with this? Maybe this is the break that I need. And I ended up doing something with it, and I was like, okay, this is clean, but it's selfish. I have to get the other people on board. I literally just messaged them on a Discord. I'm like, hey, there might be a hat trick in here. You don't have to do it because the moves look clean as is, even without the hat. But for me personally, I'm like, this feels right, so I'm going with it. After that, we got Juan involved, which is honestly a huge leap for him. As I mentioned at the top of the challenge, Juan is brand new to all of this, so if you guys want to see how much you guys could progress over 100 days, just watch Juan. We practiced both inside and outside, but eventually we had something solid heading into our first private lesson with Mighty. Cool.
Great.
Yeah.
All right, so what are we doing?
So I want to show you what we have so far in terms of like the choreo for Finesse.
Some footwork.
I'm trying to get some footwork in. Okay. I feel like most of it is actually just like above my body, so I don't really have like a lot going on here. And I feel like, especially with this amount of space, I don't feel like I'm covering enough space on the floor.
Yeah. Something that just came into my head, might be useful, might not be. There's ways when you're in that type of situation where you feel like you have a lot of stage to fill, but your piece is not like that. One thing that people will do in that type of situation is limit the stage.
To better understand the concept of limiting space that Mighty mentions here, it's best that we use a physical example. So let's just say that this TV tray is the entire stage, and I am merely this small Pokemon figure. Instead of me having to worry about covering the entire stage through movement, I can use set pieces or other people to fill in the dead space of the stage. This allows us to adjust the space and focus the viewer's eye on the actual performance. But speaking of the actual performance, we still have to show Mighty what we came up with so far in the actual choreo.
So, how does it start?
It has the first set of 7 hits to get us in. The second one is ta 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 da, and then on the 7th we all spread. Drop top Porsche.
Okay.
Rollie on my wrist. Okay. Diamonds up and down my chain.
A few moments later.
4 and bring it together. Hit.
I can tell you that so far everything looks solid. This all looks great. Your next step is to just continue to try to choreograph from there, right? That's what you want to do.
Yeah.
Just go core into the verse, and then go into the chorus, core into the verse, and then continue through the rest of the song.
Yeah.
Right? Now, let me ask you this, just as a thought. Maybe you haven't thought about this yet, so I'm putting it in your brain. Is it more important to you going forward to have assistants choreographing next parts, or to see that this part is solid?
I think it might be choreographing the next part, or the parts moving forward.
Okay.
Yeah, if I could build off of what I have already, and then just kind of like stack it up and see if I can add more moves or add more complex moves, I think that would help.
So do this for me. I'm gonna play it again from the top.
Yep.
Give me the moves again. You don't have to go full out. I just need to get a sense of where they are again, right? And then it'll give me a jump off point for the next section. So yeah, just go for it. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Again, it doesn't have to be full out.
Hold on. Let me...
The thing I really liked about when you two were interacting was, and the audience may get this or not, but there was an echo in his singing too.
Yes.
He says it, they say it. He says it, they say it. He says it, they say it. And I felt like, even if you didn't necessarily notice that when you're just listening to the song, I was noticing it now. Like, oh, and then, and oh, and then, and that's cool. If you watch a competitive dance routine, especially ones that are on the shorter, it's almost like attention deficit theater, because it changes so much that you're like not used to anything. Like, now he's flipping, now they're over here, now they're together, now they're apart. It's like all over the place. But it's because like in that setting, they have to wow so quickly that it's like talking in all caps all the time. Like, and that is essentially what I'm talking about, taking to an extreme, right? Definitely want your audience to get bored. There's a too crazy. But you could give a taste of that by continuing to switch things up. This is where, now that we're in the chorus, I would want to see something change. So the first thing I would like to do then is grab a new formation.
At this point, Mighty goes into talking about 3-person formations. Everything that I have choreographed so far has been planned in a triangle formation, with the person up front really gaining most of the focus, and then rotating people in order to give them the spotlight when it's their turn. To create variety in the choreography, Mighty challenged me to break that triangle into different shapes. That could be horizontal lines, vertical lines, diagonal lines, or even L shapes, where people are actually hiding behind other people from the line of sight of the audience. This gives me a whole new perspective and idea to play with when it comes to moving and covering the stage, as well as keeping it fresh and entertaining for the audience. And before wrapping up my lesson, I had to ask Mighty what was the best plan of action for getting into Cabaret.
I think what you should do, and you know this in your town now, is a solid trailer. What you want more than anything is for it to be sizzle reel style, like really indicative of what we can expect to see and make you want to be like,
I want to see that.
Yeah.
Got it. With Mighty's advice still being fresh in my mind, I decided to put my film degree to good use and set up the practice room for a video submission shoot. We cleared the floor of the carpet and set up cameras to capture us from 3 different angles. To get the same feel as Cabaret, we recreated the same red and blue tone lighting that they have at Funkmode in their studios. After several hours of trying to nail the choreography and a quick wardrobe swap, we finally got a final take done at the early hours of 1 AM. I slapped together a quick edit and thumbnail, exported the video, and sent it to Cara. So now that we have submitted the video, we had to wait a week to see if we actually got accepted. This whole video was riding on the fact that we could get into the Cabaret show, and with the many hours we've poured into it so far for the choreography, as well as the time that we have spent with our instructors, this whole video could have been derailed if we didn't get accepted. And then we got the news. After long review, and after waiting over a week, we finally got the announcement that we are in the program. So we actually got in. All it really does for me is that it really sets this whole timeline into place, and it's really starting to kick in now. I really want to make this choreo really fun, but there's a lot of things that I really want to focus in on and learn. A lot more stuff to really like circle on the calendar, a lot more stuff to hone in, and I'm really excited to really push the choreo further and see what we could come up with, you know? Now that we are in the show, it's now time to build the rest of the choreography. For inspiration, I actually went back to the original music video for Finesse featuring Cardi B to see if there were any dance styles that we could pick from. One of the main focuses that I actually wanted to learn for this project was the New Jack Swing style of dance that was super popular in the late 80s and early 90s. Mighty and Angel both recommended a TV show called In Living Color, and to particularly pay attention to the commercial breaks with the Fly Girls. These dance segments highlighted the New Jack Swing style that was super popular during the time. And to tie it back to the Finesse music video, the set that they are dancing on is a recreation of the set from In Living Color. I wanted to incorporate some of these moves and elements, especially towards the end of the dance when we start building up a lot of excitement and hype. On top of that, I looked into Mighty's suggestion to look at different formations. When I was growing up, I watched a lot of America's Best Dance Crew and World of Dance, but I circled back to that to see if there were any formations that were actually physically possible for me to do that are not borderline insane. You know, there's no head spins, no backflips over people, and no whatever the hell this is. Oh my god. We ended up practicing over the next 2 weeks, building on the choreography that we already have and working in some of these new elements. And before we knew it, the full crew was ready for our second private lesson with Mighty. Yeah, so today I wanted to show you kind of what we have so far. We took your notes on the formation change on the chorus. We really like that. It's a lot of fun. The thing that I'm mostly struggling with is the hype part, and then yeah, just other moves that are kind of big, because I want that finale to be like really, really strong. Even though the rest of it is like very chill. That's kind of what I want to focus on. After our first run through, Mighty noticed something during our formation changes.
I want you to do the switcheroo parts for me again on the chorus. Now, show it to me without the music. First thing is you guys are side by side.
Yep.
Right? Okay, cool. And then the first transition goes
back.
Here's what it is. So with that, you have to be really sure, in my opinion, for it to sell, to be moving at the same time.
Okay.
Same pace, get there exactly at the same moment.
Got it.
Right? If any of you gets there ahead of time, it kind of ruins the illusion.
Effect, yeah.
The illusion is that you are all one thing, right? Which you're obviously not. But when you're moving like that, it's like you're this three-headed dancer, right? And so you create that illusion by being perfectly in sync. So you have to think about those timings when you're getting to each next spot, which is great. You have the music, so the music really helps you get there, right? So that's your guideline. Each transition takes how many counts?
Each transition takes 4.
4 counts per transition. Okay, so let's do the first transition right now. I'm gonna count you 5, 6, 7, 8. Do not get to your space before 4. 4 is it. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so here's something that can help you. When they're doing this particular move, and this is not something that you would necessarily notice, they're doing it in 2 segments. So they're going one move, another move, right? You're doing it in 1. You can, it's very easy to do. You have long legs, you don't have to do anything else but this. But it would look better compared to them if you went 1, 2, 1, 2, right? You're getting there at the same time and looking like you're doing the same thing basically with them as they do it, right? So that's this first one. Go back and do that again.
Okay.
So 5, 6, 7, 8, go 1, 2, 3. Totally different effect there. Great. Okay, so 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, that made a huge difference. Excellent. That's what we were looking for.
Not what it tastes.
When you stay in the music's always doing the same thing, and it's easy to stay with it. As soon as you start thinking about your moves, you disconnect from the music, and then you start getting off beat. Happens to everyone. So it's really, really important that even as you're doing choreography, you don't let go of the music. Because the thing is, the choreography exists on its own, right? So you could focus just in on the choreography and not think about the music, right? Do the moves. This is what comes next. This is what comes next. This is what comes next. And then you realize you've left the song entirely, right? For doing the moves. You have to make sure that those stay connected.
Yeah. Then Mighty decided to pull the reverse Uno card.
Next thing I want to do is I want you to teach me a portion of it.
So I taught Mighty the first 2 8 counts of our choreo, and I'm not gonna lie, this was super intimidating. It's one thing to know your moves, but it's very different trying to explain the timing and motions to someone who does this as a professional. It felt like trying to teach 4-time NBA champ Steph Curry how to shoot a 3. The goal of this exercise wasn't to prove to Mighty that I know my own choreo, but rather a lesson of how to elevate the moves that we already have. In this example, Mighty shows us how little adjustments such as adding arms, extending the pose, or even lip syncing can affect the overall impact of the moves and the overall feel of the piece. Especially with a song like Finesse, we don't want to look like we're just running through the motions for the sake of moving. We want the choreo to be fun and energetic and intentional through every move. Speaking of moves, I asked Mighty if he could break down this move from the Finesse music video. I personally like the way it looks and the motion of it, but in my head, I just couldn't figure out the mechanics of it. This move was actually broken down into 2 parts. The first part is just moving your forearms up and down while keeping your elbows tucked into your sides. The trick to making this move look like you're swinging your arms through is the direction that you face when you perform it. Mighty pointed out the corners of the room as guide points to help us with this angle. The second part of this move is the legs that kick in and out. The tip Mighty gave us here was to think of it more as a lean back rather than a kick out. This helps you stretch the silhouette for the move without shifting your center of balance too far. Now that we have that move in our move pool, we shifted our attention to the final section of the song. It's the most energetic part of the choreo and the part that I've had the most trouble choreographing for. Mighty really honed in on the New Jack Swing style of dance, and just for a quick refresher.
New Jack Swing, if you didn't know about it from what I said before, is a reboot, reboot of swing dance, right? But with like a new funky kind of feel to it, right? So swing is what it was, right? New Jack means just like somebody new on the scene, right? So this, is very swing dance, right? Ba, 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 ba. So we're basically going for the same thing, but we're making it funky, right?
After that short hip-hop history lesson, we continued to build up the choreo until we had something finale worthy. And before we wrapped up the lesson, Mighty gave us some advice for building up the rest of the choreo.
And so what I might suggest then going forward, when you're looking at new choreo, is to do similar to what you've done already and record it.
Yeah.
And then send it to me.
Got it.
Probably more than anything, I would be pointing out parts that would be underwhelming.
Yeah.
Could use a little bit more whelming. Because I think that everything you guys have been doing so far already looks like really good. I'm really impressed with the choreo. In fact, Cara, I could hear her listening to your choreo when you got it. When she got it, and she was like, "Oh, this is good." She's like, you could definitely tell she was like a little nervous about what she would see, and then she really liked the sight of it. So I think if we can keep up that energy and the spirit that you've got going through the choreography so far, you'll be good.
So with Mighty's help to flush out the final hype moments of the choreography, I was eager to get home and practice to nail down these moves. The hardest part about this choreography can be broken down into 2 elements. The first was getting the movements to be dynamic and energetic. New Jack Swing style has a lot of energy from the swing side of it, but also has super dynamic and striking silhouettes that are hard to hit when you have to cover a lot of space. On the other hand, you have to keep the rhythm of the music in mind, and this is the fastest part of the song. Not only do we need to perfect this part of the choreography because it's the big finale, but we actually have to perform this section twice, with a very short break in between. For context, here are the lyrics for Finesse by Bruno Mars and Cardi B. Our arrangement removes the final chorus completely and swaps around the bridge and the first refrain. That only gives me 19 seconds to catch my breath between these 2 intense sets. So, I had to increase my stamina by practicing over and over and over again. I exhausted myself and pushed myself to my absolute limit, until my body hit the limit. With this setback, I felt like I lost so much momentum and even questioned at times whether or not I could even finish this video, let alone the choreo. My right knee would feel pain in the joint whenever I would shift my weight onto it. And not being able to feel 100% to do this dance and having to be sidelined for over a week made me feel like I was letting my entire group down. But I had to take it slowly and focus on recovery in time for our third and final private lesson, this time with Angel. Okay, so I think we'll show you what we have so far, and then if there's anything.
Do we want to start with a warm-up or anything, or just hop right into it?
Warm-up would be nice.
Yeah, let's go ahead and do our warm-up, yeah? Okay.
While we are warming up here, I would like to take a little bit more time to talk about Funkmode. First of all, I am not sponsored by them at all. I just happened to be a student of theirs for just about a year, and they were generous enough to let me shoot this long anime manga challenge video in their studio. On top of private lessons like the one that you're watching right now, all the instructors teach classes here throughout the week. While I was learning this choreo, I was also taking their cardio and strength workout class called Move to help me build stamina for this performance. And if you are interested in taking classes with Funkmode, they offer free class week near the end of each session, where you could experience a full class just by signing up. I recommend trying out a bunch of different classes throughout that week and seeing what works best for you and what you personally vibe with. And who knows, maybe you might even run into me as well. And even from just the warm-up, Angel already has notes for us.
So, even just while we're doing that, because I know that we are ultimately just trying to bring more energy to your dancing, clean up your dancing, make it more impactful as a performance style, right? I was already judging you, trying to look at, even just within those movements, where can I kind of challenge each of you, right? And all of you have totally different things that you get to work on, which is really wonderful. So I'm actually gonna ask you where you think you would still like to see yourself improve.
I think I need energy, like in terms of like range. And stamina, just getting through everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say mostly just understanding that with added energy comes obviously added effort. You know, we have the video of this warm up, and if you just did it like essentially as training, multiple times in a row with as much effort as you can, you should be getting tired at the end, right? So now our ultimate goal is for our energy to start off strong and not die out, so that by the time you get to the end, you know, and not save your energy either. It can be really easy for us to start like kind of chill in the beginning of this because you're like, oh man, well it's gonna get harder later, right? So being able to kind of pace yourself, not, and I think in terms of a bigger project like this, that's gonna be really important that you don't start out so relaxed, saving energy that it's boring to do or to watch, but you don't get so excited that you gas out and then can't keep up. So finding for yourself what is a kind of a centered pacing that you can give yourself to stay through that. Awesome. Okay.
The main goal of this lesson was to get all three of us on the same page. While practicing the choreo, Angel would ask us hyper-specific questions to help us clean up the moves. Questions like how far apart are your feet during this part, or where are you looking during this part, or what expression do you have on your face, or who's lip syncing this part, and so on and so forth. She even helped us make the moves snappy in the starting formation by telling us to whip our arms from our chest before extending it out. She also mentioned another aspect of performance that I really didn't think about.
There's only 3 of you, so there's no hiding,
Yeah.
right? But you come alive so much more when you're in the front of your section. So think about that actually the whole time you're dancing. There's no hiding, right? And even if there was a class of 20 people performing, there's a whole audience and they're gonna be watching. Anybody is being watched at any moment, right? So don't just wait to come alive when it's your turn. I want you to be in the back row or in the back of this triangle, making my eyes go away from the person who's leading it because you are that interesting to watch, right? Like you are doing your own solo in the back.
After nailing down the first part of the choreo, we swapped rooms with another group since they had reserved the studio for their cabaret performance. We continued to work out other sections of the dance, and although this may seem like we're just nitpicking here, these small details will help the piece stand out and look good when it comes time for the performance. We also got a great piece of advice in terms of adjusting the formation even during the performance.
And so actually then if you think about like, you've got all of this, right? This, you have the mirror, you can use this to move. Like if you need to adjust anything, you're not stuck there. You can adjust that.
We also performed the finale for Angel, which was that last piece of choreo that we worked on with Mighty in the previous lesson. Angel noticed how before the last move of this section, we're actually facing the left when we should be facing forward. She gave us a suggestion that we should change the last kick to a forward kick. That way we end up facing the audience and being squared up before going into the last move. And with that final piece of advice, that wrapped up our private lessons with both Mighty and Angel. From this point forward, I would actually be on my own as we were starting to head into crunch time before the Cabaret performance. Good.
That's it for today.
Yay.
Ah!
We survived.
Ah! Ah! Good job, everybody.
With the Cabaret performance less than a month away, we took Angel's notes and pointers to heart as we continued to finish up the choreography. On top of ramping up practice with Forrest and JUAN, I was secretly working on recruiting extras for the finale. Mighty mentioned this idea and concept during the formations part, and I thought it would be a really cool idea to bring in more people to hype up the big finale part of this choreography. So I created a short instructional video that goes over the dance for this last part. And in order to recruit new people, I went into different Funkmode classes to see if anybody was interested in performing in a Cabaret piece. And during the last week of Cabaret, I was able to reserve a studio and get Blanka, Natalie, Vicki, and Laura to join me and JUAN for a practice session to nail down this big finale. We all got a few good practice runs in, and we were feeling super confident heading into dress rehearsal that was happening at the end of the week. I totally forgot that we didn't shoot a fit check, so here it is.
Hey, what's up? This is all of us. This is what we're wearing for the performance. We totally didn't forget to do a fit check thing.
Forrest, what are you wearing for today's performance?
I'm wearing the LA Dodgers hat in katakana and an Otani jersey as well. This random tube top I found at Forever 21 and some pants I got from Amazon and the good old Converse.
So go from head to toe, what are you wearing?
So when I bought the jersey, I went to the hat place, and I'm like, hey dude, can you help me out for a bit? I need to get a hat that matches this. And he's like, oh, can I see it? And I pulled it up, and he's like, oh, it looks really good. Can you put it on so we could try out different hats? And he's like, he gave me like 5 different like hats to try on, and he ended up with this one. We actually ended up with 2. I didn't bring the other one, but I think this one fits better than the other one. The pants were picked out, and they actually look pretty nice. I realized that my current shoes were too slippery, so I needed to get new ones. So I only had the next day to get new ones. That's my story for that one.
All right, what's up everybody? So yeah, I guess I'll go over my fit for today. Off the rip, we're starting from head. We have this NBA All-Stars 2000s hat. This was like my first All-Star game ever, and it has this like old school look. Obviously it's got like the Golden Gate, and it's really fun. Very much a throwback, so it's the reason why I kind of wanted to go with that. We have like a regular white sweatshirt, like hoodie underneath it. This is really warm. I'm not gonna lie, when I dance, I am literally like on fire. And then we have the retro Steph Curry jersey, the Oakland, the We Believe old school Oakland one. This specific jersey is now an anime reference. If anybody watched Blue Box, which I've been hyping on the entire time, Chinatsu references to Steph Curry. Steph Curry is wearing this jersey in the specific shot. So wearing a Steph Curry jersey is now an anime reference. Anyways, the chains, by the way, the chains that JUAN and I are wearing are from Party City. Once I decided on the Steph Curry jersey, I needed the dark navy blue again. So I went from that to my joggers down to my shoes. So you'll see the blue and white theme going all the way through. And that's kind of what I was aiming for in this specific one. Yeah, that's the basic of the fit. Hope you guys enjoyed, and yeah, we'll see you guys once we actually start the performance.
Now that our fits have been checked, we made our way into the studio for dress rehearsal. And to get us hyped for the show, we got opening words from Cara, the director of Cabaret and the other founder of Funkmode.
I just want to first say thank you for being here. Over the last few months, and I appreciate all of your hard work and your positive energy. So thank you for all of your time and support and energy, supporting other people's creative work, supporting the people in your classes, supporting me and being able to put on a show in our in-house style show, which I really like. The goal here tonight is to be efficient and run stuff and get out as fast as we can. We got a long day tomorrow, so let's just get it done tonight and then get home and get some rest.
Hello everybody. It
is rehearsal day. We are at Funkmode. We're currently in the waiting room, kind of just like playing it nice and slow. I'm excited to see everyone else's performance, but I'm kind of nervous, obviously, you know, first time choreographing a piece, but also first time like actually performing it in the Funkmode space. It's gonna be really interesting to see how it looks. So yeah, a lot going on, excited, and looking forward to it. We'll call you guys once we actually start getting the run of show going. All right, let's get it. After our dress rehearsal, Angel pulled us aside to help us polish up our final formation.
Can I actually see that very last formation?
The last formation?
It's kind of like a V. A slight V here, yes. Oh, I see. Perfect. So then if this is going to be the formation, which is great, then you two actually were correct right next to each other. And then Vicki, you then were too far forward, making this side look like a half of a V, making Natty look off. Because it looked like a V, but with Natty too far back. So decide either if it's use twos and use twos directly side by side, or if it's a V. I think a V would be cleaner. Yeah, I think a V would be cleaner if that's okay. So then, yes. That's what I was expecting it to be. I think that would be much cleaner. Okay, great. Yay! Great job, you guys.
Thank you, Angel.
So, with that, we did it. Give it up. Hang on yourself back up, and I'll see you tomorrow at 3 for the 2.
Juan, what did you think of our run?
It was good. It was really good. Obviously, the ending piece was kind of rough because we didn't know what to do.
I feel like everybody, like, it was just mainly formation. Like, it was good that Angel came in and, like, kind of gave us a heads up on that. Yeah. But otherwise, you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Good? Good?
I was not expecting people to cheer when I threw my hat. I threw it, and then people were cheering.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh,
on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you in your performance for tomorrow? Starting with you, Forrest.
An 8.
An 8? Okay, pretty solid. What about you, Juan?
I was also gonna say 8.
Okay, everybody's an 8. Like,
That's
why?
being generous. That's being very generous, and also being like, I don't want to be overconfident.
I'm hella overconfident. We're like a 9. I'm ready. Let's get it. See you tomorrow. As Forrest helps me apply my stage makeup, it's at this moment that I totally forgot to tell you how the show is actually formatted. So, in the program, there are 21 unique performances. Although the majority of the performances are choreography, they also include live music and some theatrical pieces as well. As for our performance, we are 4th in the order, meaning that we are closer to the start of the show, but we have to bring the excitement since we are following after a very somber theatrical piece. As the curtain rises for the Funkmode Spring Cabaret, the nerves start to set in as I wait in the wings and prepare to take the stage.
All right, it's time to bring the energy and start getting into some fun. Japanese anime and manga is so much more than sword fights and magical girls. These stories contain a wide variety of genres, themes, and topics that can be enjoyed by anyone of any age. One series in particular inspired a student to walk through the doors of Funkmode exactly 1 year ago. And this next piece looks to bring it back around full circle. Performing the first song from the manga series Wandance by author Coffee, here is the KanaManga crew performing Finesse. It's perfectly all right.
Take a half step forward.
While the dances are going on, you know, you can get fired up and do something cool. Backflip or something, you can cheer.
Oh, don't hype it. Oh, too much expectation there. After the final performance of Cabaret, I had a moment to reflect on the past 100 days to see how far we've come. It's crazy to think how this whole journey began with me picking up an unknown manga that caught my eye in the bookstore. Wandance inspired me to take the first steps into Funkmode and to get out of the house and pursue an extracurricular since COVID. From seeking advice from my supportive instructors, to creating and practicing choreography, and pushing through setbacks and adversity, I'm proud of the performance that I was able to put together in such a short amount of time. The sense of community, encouragement, and support from everyone at Funkmode really proves that they truly believe in their motto of all love. I'm hoping that with the anime adaptation in the fall of 2025, and with more of the manga still being written, Wandance continues to inspire people to express themselves in creative ways, even if words aren't their strong suit. And for those of you guys who are watching this video and are thinking to yourselves, that's cool, I wish I could do that, or I wish that were me. I can tell you that with enough effort and dedication, even you can go beyond the panels.